Hi guys, welcome back to We Should Talk, a pop culture interview series from In the Now. I'm your host, Gibson Johns, and this week on the podcast we have Melissa Gorga from the Real Housewives of New Jersey. Melissa is always a great interview. I think she always has a really great perspective on everything that's happening on the show, and this time was no different. There's a lot going on the season of New Jersey, and so we broke down the Jennifer Aydin situation with Bill's affair and all the sort of fallout that has come from that and her opinion on some of that, her blow up with Jennifer and sort of where she stands on sort of things getting physical there. Also Teresa and Louie. And then she had some really interesting things to say about sort of some theories about sort of where Teresa's mind is at when it comes to the show and not really enjoying it and having her relationship interrogated, which I totally understand. And so I wanted to know sort of what she thought about that and sort of what does she think the future holds for Teresa on the show? What does she think that she should do? Especially when you compare it to the Teresa that we got on Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip, which was a totally different person and much more light and fun loving. And so it was really interesting to hear her thoughts on all of that. And anybody who watches Jersey would love this interview. So keep listening for my interview with Melissa Gorga from the Real Housewives of New Jersey. Tune into the show Tuesdays at 8 p.m. on Bravo. And please rate, review, and subscribe to We Should Talk on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. All right, so we're here with Melissa Gorga from the Real Housewives of New Jersey. Melissa, how are you? Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm happy to be catching up with you.
Looking handsome as ever, as always.
You're making me blush. So I feel like the last time I saw you was when you weren't at Meredith Marks's premiere party, were you? I was with some of the other Jersey girls were there, but you were not there.
No, they invited me, but I couldn't go that night for something. I'm always working.
You're always up to something.
Oh my gosh. It's like crazy. I just opened a new NV. So
congratulations.
Yes, we just opened a NV that's double the size in Ridgewood, New Jersey. So I am so excited about it. I've been working there all day, all week, like reloading it. It's double the size, double the work, but I'm very excited about it. I feel blessed about that. So
does that speak to the success of the original? Is that sort of a reflection of that?
Definitely.
That's amazing.
Really, it is. Like I would never double the size of it and double my bills.
Yeah.
Double my staff and doubling everything. So I'm grateful and I'm very excited about it.
That's amazing. Are you guys still in the rental house? Are you
Yes.
The new house is still being worked on? What's the status there?
We'll probably move in this summer to the new house.
Good timing.
By this summer. Yeah.
Love it. So, okay, this season, it was off to the races. I mean, like you guys are always off to the races, but this felt like you guys are really, you wasted no time getting into it this year. And this first part of the season is really has been about Margaret revealing, Bill's affair on camera and sort of all the fallout from that. And I'm curious for you, like after watching a lot of these episodes back, are you still firmly in the camp of she was good to bring it up? Jennifer had it coming. Are you still firmly on that side of it?
Well, this is what I will say. It was not new information. It was something that we all knew. You heard Margaret kind of come out with it in Cabo. And at that point, we all already knew. We knew the second Jennifer was joining the show, whatever that was. We all knew. We don't want to go down that path. Nobody wants to go down that path. Nobody wants to hurt a family. There's children involved. I would never, so it's just something that, we don't want to do. But I think Margaret's back was up against the wall when she was just really trying to explain that, like, why is your husband such a great person? How is he any better than me? So why do you keep shaming me when you love your husband, you forgave your husband? Like, how is she's trying to compare, because I feel like, Jennifer was constantly getting on her about her previous lifestyle and her how she met Joe, and I think that finally Margaret was just like, enough, like, and wanted to tell about Bill and say, like, it's very ballsy of someone who has this going on in their home to even bring it up to someone else when we're all protecting her. We could have brought it up
3 years ago, right?
Her. So I don't think anyone realizes how generous and how nice everyone actually was about it for so long.
And then, but it's sort of, but nothing that she has said or whatever has sort of convinced you that it shouldn't. Like, I mean, I see where you're coming from. I'm just curious.
I feel horrible about it.
Of course.
I did. I still think we could have done without saying it. I do, because who does it hurt? What does it do? Everyone, like, people will know Margaret owns her truth. She owns how her life came about. And I feel like we probably shouldn't have said, or I didn't say it, but Margaret didn't have to say that. She didn't, but she did. And I understand sometimes because look at me, I get out of my chair all the time and like sometimes
totally.
you lose control.
Yeah. Yeah. And were you, I was happy to see this, but I was also surprised to see this. This is when Jackie went and like kind of was with Jennifer and supporting her and sort of trying to be there for her. Were you surprised to see that, especially after sort of watching those one-on-one conversations on the show?
I knew Jackie never really liked Jennifer, but I actually thought it was pretty amazing the way she felt for her. Like, she's been there, and Jackie hit the floor when this happened. And that's a fact. Her house turned upside down. And I know that for a fact. There was not normal life going on over there for weeks. And it was still trickling down. Like, it really affected Jackie's home a lot. So I think that she, just knowing the heartache that she went through, not even really liking Jennifer, was like, oh, no, I have to help this woman because that's how bad it is. It's one of those things where you're like, I wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy, know?
Yeah, for sure. And then kind of you three, Margaret, Jackie, and you, Jennifer says that you guys gang up on her and you guys deny that. And, I see what she's saying because it is like a 3-on-1 situation sometimes, but she has individually kind of come for each of you. So it's not as if it's unwarranted, I would say. What do you make of that? Of her saying you guys are ganging up on her?
I never want anyone, to be honest, when I'm having a conversation with someone, I never want anyone to jump in. I want to talk one-on-one. It just seems like everyone has their own beef. So like once one person starts going, then the other one's like, yeah, and you know, but it's not like, I don't feel like I've ever jumped in ever to defend Margaret. I haven't. If you watch, I've never jumped in to defend Jackie. I always just talk to her about what I have going on with her. I'm not there to defend Margaret and Jackie and everyone else, like in the middle of their heated argument. That's not what I do. But what happens is everyone has something to say, and it can look like that. And that is never the intention. I never wanted to ice Jennifer out. I think Jennifer's great for the show.
Right. So exactly.
I think people come up with these, like, or the fans or somebody comes up with like these ideas they want to do. It's like, no, it's not that way. I'm really upset that you called my husband a little and so I'm having a conversation with you about it. I don't know what Margaret's saying over here. I don't know what Jackie's saying, but I need
You're looking. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So I don't do that gang up thing. I never did. It's not my style. I'm very good one-on-one. I don't even need Teresa to come over and help. I'm good. Like, I just want to have the conversation.
And then speaking of that moment where you do get up and you go towards Jennifer, obviously you weren't going to get physical with her, but
no.
I feel like there are people that say that because you got up and like went into her face, that you were asking for it. How do you respond to that?
I understand that. But I think I was very, very frustrated. I think that I know, number one, you get fired if you touch someone. I think I know that I have a 16-year-old daughter at home that's in high school. So I think that my emotions, because sometimes Jennifer doesn't argue the way I argue, which is I like to go back and forth, use my brain and have a conversation. And sometimes she'll do like that, that annoying thing, like that. That's when you get like, rah, like,
where she's not really listening to you, really. She's not really listening to what you're saying.
She's just still speaking about something else. And I'm like, no. Like, I'm trying to talk. So I'm very impulsive. I'll take that. I'm impulsive. I've been that way the whole way. If you watch from season 3, I'm very impulsive. I come out of left field and I blow up. That's me in real life with Joe, like with everyone. I'm the most impulsive person, but I also use my brain pretty well. So I know that you're not allowed to touch someone. You will be fired. So of course, if I'm like, listen to me, but I'm not going to touch you, So I get that. Yes. If you come at somebody aggressively, maybe she got nervous that I was going to do something. So I will put that on both of us there. She wasn't listening. I stood up. but in my defense, there's been many times where this girl has thrown food at me, thrown a glass at me. She's done many things. So I've just never put my hands on her. I never want to have to put my hands on anyone on the show. That's, to me, embarrassing. I have a daughter that I would never want to see that, and it's not who I am. Truly. That is not who I am, but I'm frustrated. I am the type of person to stand up though and be like, listen to me. And that was it's like
that was your way of expressing that.
That's me. I get like I do that, but I'm not going to touch you.
Totally. Yeah. And you act on your impulse, but at the end of the day, you do have that sort of blocker in your mind of like, nope, I'm going to stop here.
Not to that. If I were on a show where I felt like I physically had to grab people, I wouldn't.
You have to get out of there. Right. Exactly.
I'd be like, this is not for me.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. And then something that has sort of surprised me about this whole Jennifer Bill situation is like, I just feel like he hasn't really owned his part. I mean, he's the one who had the affair. And I feel like at least on camera, we haven't really seen him own it or really, and at the show he didn't super defend her. He sort of walked away. And you said on the van that you think that he doesn't like Jennifer or he can't stand her sometimes. What do you make of that? Because I think it's been really interesting because I feel like she's having to sort of put it on her shoulders when she's the one that was cheated on back then.
Yeah. I know he hasn't sat down and said, listen, like even Louie sat down and said, listen, I was in this camp. This is what I did. This is how I felt. We haven't heard anything from Bill yet in so that he can kind of take the pain off of her shoulders a little bit, or take the weight, should I say, off of her shoulders and say, guys, this is not a Jennifer thing. This is a Bill thing. This is what I did. And, so yeah, that's a real fact. Mm-hmm. And, what I also saw was a little bit of hypocrisy in the episode, because as you're calling my husband a little for being involved in my life and defending me and speaking up for me, you're also on the other side telling your husband, why don't you do this for me? Why don't I have this? Where have you been? Where did you go? Did you get some food? And I'm like, so which one is it? Do you want your so deep down inside, I think someone wants their husband to defend them the way Joe's defending me. It's very obvious. She's getting on him for not being there, for not defending. At the same time, she's yelling at Joe for doing it. So there's a little hypocrisy going on.
Yeah. I see that. And I think that maybe there's some projection or whatever you want to call it. But, I think once again, we had kind of growing out of that moment, we had this kind of thing of Teresa not defending Joey Gorga either, which is when, Jennifer calls him a name, she doesn't step in. And then we see Tracy even call Teresa out for it. At what point do you think it's just sort of like her nature to sort of sit back in a situation like that? And, or is it something that you kind of want to keep fighting for her to just be like, no, like, this is my brother. Like, I should be defending him. Where are you mentally with that narrative?
Mentally, I think we've given up. If I'm being, we don't care. We don't need, we've given up. I mean, I think we could only say it so many times.
Yeah.
I don't think we have to even prove that to anyone anymore, to be honest. I think it was more of like when the fans wouldn't understand, or when the people watching would say, well, how could you not defend? Or what did you do? And I'm like, wait, like, is anybody watching the same show that we're watching? And I think we're at the point where we don't feel like we have to defend ourselves. I think everyone knows exactly what they're watching, whether you're, a stand for whoever, what you're watching. Okay. And that's it. And we don't feel like we need to defend it. Like who you like, believe what you want to believe. We all know what we're watching.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's definitely a certain subset of people that are sort of in denial about
denial.
Okay. I mean, even like, I look at it and I've been watching these shows for years, and I've interviewed a bunch of you guys over the years. And it's sort of like, when you're the romantic partner of a housewife, you are signing up for all that comes with that. And I think that that going in, and you can't just take the good with it without kind of being exposed to some of the bad, or sort of the investigative nature of looking into your past. Like, that's just going to happen.
Right.
And I'm curious for you, like, I can't really parse out how much of it is Louie and how much of it is Teresa in terms of not wanting people to go there and not wanting people to interrogate his past or their relationship. How much of it is him, and how much do you think it's her, from your perspective?
I think it's both of them. I really do. I also thought about this a lot, because I would try to figure out, like, Teresa would go so hard, and then when we would get in front of Louie, he would act like it doesn't bother him.
Right.
And then,
exactly.
But then Teresa would call us and say something different. So I think they both truly, want Louie to come out like as fresh as a daisy, which I would love Joe to come out as fresh as a daisy. I think Jen would like Bill. I mean, we all want that, but sorry, wrong show. Like, it's not going to happen. Anything you have done will and can be held against you. We all know this. You know this when you enter the show. And even as powerful as Teresa is on the show and she's been on it, Bravo is saving no one. So, and not even Bravo, the internet.
Yeah.
It's happening if it's happening, and I think that anyone joining, or you don't have to sign, you don't have to sign the dotted line. You could say, listen, I'm going to be your boyfriend. I am not going to be on this TV show. That's not what happened. So if you join the TV show, just like my husband, just like, Joe Beningo, Frank Catania, whoever, Dolores' poor new boyfriend, God bless him when he joins.
Right.
I'm just saying.
Yeah. I mean, you're fully in there. You're fully in there.
You're in. Nobody gets a pass. I never got one. No one gets one. You know?
And I feel like going off that, I've seen this sort of theory floated by some people, which is that we see sort of Teresa not feeling very happy on this show. And she said on Girls Trip that she has never really enjoyed it. And she loved filming that show, but not this one. And I think people look at how she's reacting to the interrogation of her relationship. And it's sort of like, maybe the wheels are spinning in her head. Is like, is this all worth it anymore? Is it worth it? And what do you think about that? Like, do you think that for her, it's getting to a point where she has to kind of choose one or the other?
Yeah, I personally think that if Louie has the means for it and they want to get married and be happily ever after, I think he should pull her off and they should go. I think that's how they would be the happiest. I'm not saying if she loves it, then no, but she clearly says all the time she hates it. So if she doesn't need to do it, then I don't think she should.
Yeah. And I'm curious for you, because again, I loved Girls Trip. I thought I loved watching you guys on that. I thought you had some hard discussions, but ultimately it was just like a fun kind of light drama show. And I think it was a refreshing change of pace. But I think what the Teresa that we saw on that show is so different than the one we get on Housewives. And for you, when you guys aren't filming anything, when you're just off camera with your families, which version of Teresa do you get more often? Is it the one that was on Girls Trip, or is it kind of a mix?
When we're not filming, the one on Girls Trip.
Mm-hmm. That feels like the true Teresa. When
we're filming, I don't know who I'm talking to sometimes. Yeah. So I don't know. And that's always I say that with Jennifer as well. Like having dinner with her is one thing. When the cameras go on, it's another. And that drives me insane because I'm like, wait, well, which one are you? What's happening? Are we mad? Are we hate? You like me? Why? I don't know what's happening. And so the one thing I will tell you is I am consistent on camera and off. I am the same human on camera and off. And anyone who knows me will tell you that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've seen that too. And I think, and I've seen, I think last time I saw you was at the book party, Dave Quinn's book party. And you guys were all taking photo booth photos together. And it was just very amicable and you're partying together. So it just,
because that was the end. You're going to keep watching and you'll see.
Sure. Yeah, for sure. And are we going to, because it seems like sort of the tides are going to turn even more so this season, where it's going to be kind of a Teresa versus Margaret situation, probably over a lot of the Louie stuff. Is that going to put you in a tough spot as one of Margaret's best friends and obviously as Teresa's family?
Well, you know what? It does, but it doesn't, because Teresa's very good friends with Jennifer, and Jennifer has come at our family many times. And so that kind of gave me a pass to say, well, we're not picking sides with anybody here. We'll stay together as family, but you and Margaret are you and Margaret, and me and Jennifer are me and Jennifer. And that's how it's going to go, I guess,
And she was okay with that. She was okay with you kind of.
Well, I think you have no choice but to be okay. Because after Jennifer did what she did and called her baby brother, we always say baby brother because that's what my mother-in-law used to say.
Of course.
Her little brother, a little you stayed and hung out and had a cup of coffee. So I guess all bets are off,
Yeah, totally. It made me a little sad hearing when you guys were watching Happens Live that Antonia was disappointed by the Gia and Joe situation. And it was definitely sad. I think a lot of people saw both sides to that, but I guess with Antonia, it's I'm curious if you see her, does she sort of not want to get as involved as Gia and Melania do, or how do you kind of comprehend what she wants when it comes to the show, I guess?
Antonia would not, and this is a true statement, even comprehend in her brain saying anything negative ever about one of her aunts or one of her uncles, not just on my side as well. It would be foreign to her to the point that it would just never come out of her mouth, ever. We don't play that game. We don't do that. The adults are the adults. We don't talk to our children negatively, even when I fight with my own sister. We don't do that. So there would never, it's very foreign to her when she sees, you know, her cousins or someone say something negative about their uncle that she knows loves them so much. She's like, just, she loves them so much. It's so hard. And it was like, she could deal with it when it was Teresa and I, and like, but when it comes to her cousins that she's very tight with and she loves, and now, like, you know, she's very like, wait, what's actually happening? You know, the adults are one thing, but like involving the children are another. And if you think there hasn't been nights where my daughter, and I know I can like say it exactly, walked into my room with Joe and I were watching TV with her phone in her hand and an article about what Joe Giudice wrote about us, you know, basically saying all these things that Joe did this to his horrible things, which then says click at the end so we can make it, you know, the whole thing.
Of course.
She walks in my room and she looks very disappointed. That's her godfather. So it's like, why are we only thinking about the one side? Like, just because my kids aren't going to go out there and speak up or talk negatively to any of their aunts or uncles, it bothers them, you know. You will never hear them say that.
Totally. And it's tough because I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't know if like, will Antonia ever like want to have like her own confessional on the show? It's like, I feel like that doesn't seem like something that she sort of needs.
She would
for
never
herself.
do it with the drama. No.
Right.
If Antonia has a confessional, it'll be because we're talking about our family, our life. You will never hear Antonia get into a confessional and talk about her Aunt Teresa. It will never happen ever in a million years.
Yeah. And but it's tough because they're all similar age, and it's like, it's probably hard for her to not like. Anyway, yeah. I mean, but again, it makes me sad that it makes her sad, and but it sounds like you guys are able to shield some of it from her, which is nice.
Yeah, she just knows. It's just, we don't do that. It's a no, and we don't do it. It's not even in her body to do it. She's not trained that way. You know.
I will say, I do love when you guys post TikToks together. I think like those always pop up for me when you guys are posting together, and I think she clearly has. Yeah.
She's just ringing my phone just now because she wants to make a TikTok with all these photos she got. And if you think I'm kidding, I'm not. She was like, Ma, I'm like, I have to do this. Give me an hour. And then I told her I would go help her make a TikTok.
Well, tell her that she got a shout out for how good the TikToks are, so she can keep it going.
I'm going to tell her. So she likes to keep,
I love it. Yes. And you do seem to have having a really good time with the podcast, Melissa, on display. I think it seems like it's a really fun new kind of avenue for you to do. Why did you do it now? And who's been the most memorable for you? And who do you kind of want to still have on?
I mean, the podcast is like one of those surprise things. I mean, honestly, I can't believe how amazing the podcast has been. I can't believe how many people want more. I get more DMs about my podcast than I do about the Real Housewives of New Jersey.
Interesting.
It's insane. I can't even believe it. And the downloads have been crazy. And it's just been fun for me. It's like an unfiltered, like real talk. And I talk about relationships. I talk about life. I talk about current events, like whatever's going on. My guests have been great. I think I've been handpicking them pretty well for like, you know, what's available out there and who's going to come talk to me and like, you know, just like what's relevant. So I think, and they love when Joe's on. Everyone goes crazy.
People love it. They love
it because when Joe's on, it's more about us, you know? So I'm talking more about myself. We're giving you a little bit of secrets. We're talking about relationships. Joe's obviously talking about sex and what women want, what guys want. And that's why everyone's just loving the podcast. And I am like surprisingly loving it because I didn't think I wanted to do it, to be honest. It wasn't like a strong passion of mine, the way that envy is and the way that it's just something I'm like, I'll try it. And I'm like, wow. Like
it's ended up being really fun for you.
Yes. I had no idea.
Yeah. Well, there's something about, and I've never been able to like kind of like express it, but there's something about you and Joe that people just love and latch onto. And I don't totally, I mean, it's obvious that you guys have this amazing marriage and chemistry and you're fun, but people just really love it. People love seeing you guys together.
Thank you. No, I know. I think we're just very raw. We're very real. We talk about things that sometimes people are uncomfortable saying.
Yeah.
And I feel like we're like we're that relatable relationship that kind of bicker, but love each other hard. And, you know, we're both a little, you know, Joe's got a big personality. And so it just works, I guess.
Yeah, it does. And I want to end on something fun, which is, you know, the Marry Me J-Lo ad that you did, the promo that you did, people were talking about that. They loved that. That must have been fun to film and sort of step into J-Lo's shoes per se.
Yeah, so it's like, oh, please do my hair and makeup exactly the same. Like it was so, and the fact that Jennifer posted it, I loved
and she
that.
commented Soul Sisters on your post. Like
I love that. That was very sweet of her to do. I appreciated that because, you know, it's like, she knows how much I love her. I've met her many a times. She knows that I like, you know, I love her. I love that she's like an East Coast. I love her little swag.
Yeah.
I'm good friends with her manager and a lot of people. We run in a little bit of the same circle with some people that we know. So that was so much fun. And it came out so cute, that commercial. It was funny.
Do you know if does she watch you on House? Does she watch Housewives ever, or has she ever watched Housewives? Do we know?
I think she does.
Yeah, I could see her. I could see her.
I don't think it's like religiously. But
no, I know. I doubt it. No, she doesn't have the time. That woman does not have the time to watch every week. But I'm sure she's a fan. Well, Melissa, this has been so fun. I feel like there's still a lot of season left. So what pops up for you as sort of being something that you can tease for us? Because I feel like there's always a curveball with you guys.
I'd say Nashville. Hold on for Nashville, because that's a doozy. Nashville is so much fun, so crazy, so wild, so table flipping. It's just it's definitely a lot. So I think the fans are going to go crazy to watch us in Nashville.
Table flipping and food throwing, it seems. So yeah,
a lot of stuff goes on. I don't know if we flip a table. I think there's some definitely food thrown off the table.
Table movement, maybe. Who knows? Well, Melissa, thank you so much for taking the time. Everyone go subscribe to On Display, wherever you get your podcasts. And have a good weekend.
Thank you. You have a good weekend too. I'll see you soon.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Bye, Melissa.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to We Should Talk. I hope you enjoyed the interview. You can find out more about In the Know at intheknow.com. You can follow me, Gibson Johns, at Gibsonoma on Twitter and Instagram. And you can listen to all of our interviews, past and future, by searching We Should Talk wherever you get your podcasts. Hope to see you next time.